Gave you a lot of feedback.
We put up a discussion forum,
Absolutely.
which continues to be vital and very active.
Oh, just look at the counts. I mean, people may not post, but it gets read very heavily.
Right. And as a matter of fact, there's a tremendous forum that was even ahead of ours in London.
Right.
The FSB forum, which we have a link to on our site.
Exactly.
They were really the first ones, because Getty started in England. Getty was Getty UK. Actually, they were a British company until they sold their assets to Getty US.
Did they roll out the letter program first there? I know that thread has been running a lot longer than us.
Yeah, no, it started in the UK.
I didn't realize that.
It started in the UK, and this forum, the FSB forum, was similar to ours, and it allowed people to vent and post and talk about what their experiences were. And then what I think changed things was when we sat down and we said, well, we have to take this to the next level. Giving people information is good.
Absolutely. That we did come across that conclusion.
Right.
Yeah, we can give all the information we want, but there's still a segment of the population that's going to need well, they may not need, but they want a helping hand.
Right. And we started thinking about how we were going to develop that and what we were going to do to help that, because the information certainly helps you be aware of what your issues are.
Right.
But the information only takes you so far in how you're going to address this huge multinational corporation.
Right. And some people are not equipped to do it.
They're not ready to do it.
Right.
They can't do it. So that's when we decided to come up with a letter program of our own to match Getty's letter program.
Right. And the thing about it is, if I recall correctly, that you already had a full load. I mean, you were working a full-time load as it was before this ever came about. And so, the thought of having hundreds of people on coming to Oscar Michelen, I mean, how were we going to accommodate this? And even if you had the time, how could we encompass a greater range of people versus charging everybody $400 an hour?
Right.
And so we brainstormed this, and I have to say, to your credit, I was pleasantly surprised how receptive you were. I thought that you were going to just shoot my idea that this isn't going to help. This is no money. I'm not going to make any money off of this. I don't want to do this. It's a waste of my time.
I did say a lot of that. But you know what it really is? I mean, in analyzing the Getty program,
right?
It became evident. Yeah, it became evident that it was pervasive.
It was very pervasive.
It was all over the country. It was all over the world.
Yes, it was.
And the way that it worked, the reason why it was so successful to Getty, is because they were generally asking for $1,000 to $1,200 per image.
Right.
Most people were involved at the 1 to 5 image level.
Yeah, for me it was only one.
You only had one.
Right.
Most people were within that range. So now you're talking about a legal claim of $1,000 up to $5,000, maybe $6,000.
That range, right?
Well, here is one of the biggest companies in the world,
right,
coming down at you for a $5,000 claim.
Right.
And not just that, it is a select group of lawyers that do IP litigation. It's not everybody who does it. There aren't there's a lot out there still. But it's not like landlord-tenant law.
Obviously.
It's not like contract litigation where there's lots of lawyers,
Yes, there is.
So
it's much more nichier. I consider it much more
niche. It's much more nichier, and quite frankly, it's much more expensive.
Yes, it is.
It resides mostly in large firms. Most of IP litigation is done by larger firms. In New York, typical large firms charge approximately $700 an hour for IP litigation. My firm, which is a small firm, charges between $450 and $500 per hour for IP litigation. So it ain't cheap.
No.
So how could you address this problem at these rates? It just didn't make sense, and that's why people paid Getty. because they would shop it around. Let me speak to an attorney, they would get a price, and it's just
You get sticker shock.
our minimum retainer is $5,000. But Getty only wants $2,000.
Right. It was just easier to just go along with
And
it.
pick a number and settle with Getty. So that's why the idea that you had of establishing a letter program where my firm would write a response to Getty's
Right.
letter at a price point
Yes.
that people could afford
Right.
was a tremendous idea, because it found the weakest link in the Getty argument. And it's like their Achilles heel. Because let's say, for example,
Mhm.
that I was Bill Gates,
Right.
and I had Bill Gates' financial worth.
Right.
And instead of trying to, recover all the landmines in Africa, I decided to help people with the Getty program and this pro bono. We put the Getty program to an end.
Right.
Because we would say, Getty can't afford to litigate a $2,000 claim
That's right.
if we have to force everybody. But our clients can't afford it either. So that's the problem.
Right.
But, so we would if push came to shove, it'd be a battle over who's willing to spend the most money over a $2,000 claim. So, but we can't do that, okay? So we decided to do it for $150.
Which is stinking cheap, my friends.
Well,
stinking cheap. I will say it. He's not saying it, I'm saying it.
We don't charge $150 for anybody for a letter.
Exactly.
So for the $150, the client gets a letter response to Getty. Now, what's good about that is not only has your company established a legal answer, if you will, to Getty's letter.
Right.
Since your company is now represented by an attorney, they've got to deal with us. They cannot contact you directly any further. And over the course of the approximately year plus a little couple of months that the letter program has been in effect, we have had an ongoing dialogue, exchange of letters with Getty, moving up through the ranks to the higher ups, establishing what we believe to be the correct legal position. Getty has responded with their legal positions. And so now, the letter kind of has evolved over the months and year plus that we've been involved with this, to where we've been going back and forth. And what really is a good benefit when we talk about someone saying, well, I'm paying $150 for a letter, which is great. But in fact, you're paying for a lot more than that, because we have reached kind of an understanding with Getty
Right.
that
Right.
when we respond to them,
Mm-hmm.
it is on behalf of this specific client and all other preceding clients. And when they respond to me about a particular legal issue that they feel is pertinent, it's for all my prior clients as well. So they don't have to write a response letter to each and every client's legal position. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you get a little bit of economies of scale.
Economies of scale.
And it's a benefit to everybody.
Correct. And at the same time, Getty is aware that this argument is not just being made on behalf of this $2,000 claim,
Right.
but on the several hundred now claims at the same time. So it's not quite a class action, because it wouldn't really be amenable to a class action, but it has the feel of that, where these arguments that we're raising with Getty are representative of more than just this $2,000 claim, and that's important. It also helps, I found so many other small businesses just feel comfortable,
Yeah.
feel, hey, I'm with a group here, I'm not,
They're
By
certainly
myself.
not isolated, that is for sure.
right, we're not isolated, we're not the only ones who
No.
are addressing this. And no other firm I've seen, by the way, has tried this, has taken this on. So it's been very, very beneficial to the clients. Now, a lot of what's in the letter has some certain standard language, but it's also tailored to each client's different position, because how long your image was up there, the manner in which you used the image,
Right.
How you got the image is all different. Of course, it's also different, the number of images, how much Getty is demanding. So each letter is really unique, to each case. The other thing that we do, we really get a lot of value out of this, and why I think it ends up being a great program, is because we send a draft to the client. Nothing goes out. We treat that client as if it's a $450 an hour client. I wouldn't send a position letter out on a client's case without letting the client see it first.